The program journal, a present hallmark of the PGA meeting, also appeared in the 1960s. It provided abstracts of the scheduled lectures and was a source of the meeting's events. After 30 years of education and service to the specialty, the PGA fell on hard times. Attendance had fallen. The lecture rooms were no longer packed. The prime mover of the PGA, Emory Andrew Rovenstein, had died. His troops were on their own. Like other great institutions, from time to time, periodic reassessment was indicated. Sarah Jaffe, one of Rovenstein's original residents who had helped establish the PGA in 1945, was elected to serve as general chair of the PGA for 1974. Before the last rap of her gavel, she would serve 3 successive terms in that capacity, and her wise leadership would rekindle the PGA flame. Jaffe also has the distinction of being the PGA's first and only woman to serve as general chair. You certainly hold the distinction of being our first woman president, and I think one of the first of a component society, and that is quite an honor.
It wasn't an honor, it was a fight.
How so?
Well, I was the only woman on the board of directors, the only woman to be the executive committee, and the only woman officer, and finally the only woman president. But many of them really didn't want a woman involved.
Did you find that his legacy helped, being a Rovenstein resident?
You mean as influence-wise?
Yeah.
No. It helped in knowing and having been part of his philosophy, but politically, absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I don't know that Roe v. was too great on having women in residence either, but the war came, and I was there during the war, and Frances Harmatuck was there during the war, and we were two bodies.
Jaffe's first action was to enlist the competent services and youthful vigor of Paul J. Poppers. Poppers had been trained in the Rovenstein tradition by Emanuel M. Papper, renowned Rovenstein resident. Poppers would serve with Jaffe as her scientific program chair. Not only did Poppers have close generational ties to Rovenstein, his own teacher, Papper, had served 3 terms as general chair in the infancy of the PGA.
I did so and decided to change the program a bit. In the first place, I got Sally Jaffe and others to agree that I would be allowed to bring in speakers from all over. I said, I do not want to be limited, I just want to have the best speakers possible. Well, that costs a lot of money and the airfare. And I told them the airfare from California, where you allow me to recruit people, is X number of dollars, and from London, it is exactly the same. Oh, if that's the case, then I could invite people from abroad. Well, of course, I invited not only from Oxford, but also from Sweden, I remember. And I really felt that the future of the PGA would depend upon the quality of the programs. What I also tried as an innovation then was to have program themes where in one theme the basic science would be discussed in the morning, where there wouldn't be too many attendees, so that was for the Mercury Ballroom. And then in the afternoon, the clinical aspect would be in the Trianon, and for another theme, I would be doing exactly the opposite.
Poppers had decided to begin the meeting on a Sunday morning. With great apprehension, he moved forward. He even chaired the innovative panel himself. The fear of an empty ballroom soon disappeared. The room was packed.
And the next year, when I had a full year of planning, I decided to bring in workshops, and I would, as an experiment, try to start a meeting on Sunday morning. And they gave me the West Ballroom, and I was a little bit scared about it because it had 1,200 seats, and I wasn't quite sure whether on Sunday morning I would have 20 or 50 sleepy people sitting in front of me, because I decided nothing should go wrong. I was going to run the panel myself, and that was, again, science in clinical practice of anesthesia. To my surprise, and a great surprise, and pleasant surprise, not only that the ballroom filled at 9 o'clock, but even standing room was inadequate. So we had well over 1,300 people there. And it was a great success. From there on, I said, fine, from now on, the PGA will start not on Sunday morning, but on Saturday morning. And we made it into a 5-day meeting.
Jaffe and Poppers also realized that the registration fee would have to be raised if the PGA were going to be financially solvent. The society was concerned that if the fee went over $50, registration would plummet and bankrupt the meeting and the NYSSA. But what Jaffe and Poppers knew was what Rovenstein had preached: bring the best speakers and fully cover the topics consistently throughout the meeting, and registrants will come. In the end, the $50 ceiling broke silently, with an actual increase in registrants the year the fee was raised.
And then we had tremendous deliberations. Could we afford to ask for $75 for the people coming to the meeting? Would they come if they had to pay $75? Evidently they did, and now they're paying $650. So
It really was, I think, a great satisfaction to me that when I took over, we were well below 2,000 attendees, and when I left, we were well over 5,000.
It was a time of revival and a period of growth. It set the tone for the modern meeting and saved the PGA.